Plot summary of bestseller by P.G. Wodehouse. Miss Postlethwaite, who works as a bartender at the Angler's Rest, is so moved by the book she is reading that she draws people's attention. Mr. Mulliner, who is always there, knows that the book was written by his niece by marriage, Evangeline, and tells how she got married to his nephew, Egbert. Mr. Mulliner's story starts with Egbert in a seaside village, where he has gone to get better after getting sick from the stress of his job as an assistant editor who has to interview female novelists. At a picnic, Egbert meets Evangeline and falls in love with her at first sight. Before he asks her to marry him, though, Egbert makes sure she has never written a book, or a short story, or poetry, for that matter. She says she hasn't and agrees to what he's offering. Egbert doesn't know that Evangeline is so moved by how she feels about her fiancé that she writes a romantic novel. When she tells Egbert what she did and reads him the book, he tries hard not to show how upset he is. Her writing is terrible and based on her own life. For example, Egbert's proposal is used word for word, and he can't believe he ever said polluted the air with such horrible horseradish. The publisher of Evangeline is focusing on promoting a different, more scandalous book, but their efforts are being hurt by a sudden change in what people want to read. People are tired of reading about sex and want to read about pure love. Because of this, Evangeline's book becomes a big hit. At first, Evangeline isn't sure of herself, but she soon feels more at ease with her success. She writes letters to her fans and gives lectures instead of spending time with Egbert. She hires a handsome literary agent named J.N.O. Henderson Banks, and she stops going out with Egbert so she can go to dinner and the theater with her agent. Egbert wants her to stop seeing Banks because he is jealous. She says no, so they can't get married. Egbert is heartbroken. He puts his attention on his work to help him deal with his sadness. His life has made him stronger, and he is no longer too weak to talk to female authors. He gets his boss's approval by doing hard jobs, like interviewing an author who has driven one of his coworkers crazy. Egbert is eventually asked to talk to his ex-girlfriend, Evangeline Pemberry. When he gets to Evangeline's house, he tries to hide his feelings, and the two of them greet each other like they are strangers. Egbert starts the interview, and Evangeline doesn't seem very interested in what he has to say until he asks how the second book in her series is coming along. Then she starts crying. Egbert goes over to comfort her and asks her what's wrong. Evangeline says that her agent has asked her to write and publish a lot of short stories and serials. She has already been paid, but she hates writing and doesn't know what to write about, so she doesn't see how she can keep her contract. Egbert has a plan. He is a failed author himself, and he has 3 novels and 20 short stories that he was never able to get published. When they get married, Evangeline can just put them out under her name. Egbert and Evangeline make up at the end of the story, which is a happy ending.
Even though Wodehouse was born in England, he spent his first 2 years in Hong Kong, where his father worked as a British judge. When he was 2, his parents sent him back to England, where a nanny took care of him until he was old enough for boarding school. This was a common thing for wealthy British families who lived in the colonies. Wodehouse couldn't go to college because his family's finances were getting worse. He worked as a banker for a while, but he didn't like it, so he quit to become a writer. Wodehouse wrote stories and novels, but he also wrote for Broadway. He went to New York often to work on these projects. Wodehouse was taken by the Germans while he was in France at the start of World War II. He agreed to make radio shows that would be sent to the United States and the United Kingdom while he was in jail. Even though the broadcasts weren't about politics, there was a big backlash in the UK, where many people thought what he did was treasonous. He was never charged with anything, but after he got out of jail, he moved to the US and never went back to the UK. During his life, some serious writers, like W.H. Auden and Evelyn Waugh, thought Wodehouse's work was silly, while others, like W.E.G. Sebald, praised it highly. Today, most people agree that he was one of the best comic writers of the 20th century.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.